Hello everyone! Today we've got kind of a cool device. I've had it for about a year, and so I'm going to give you a pretty good, I think, overview on how this thing works, and to let you know that this is something I use in my day-to-day or week-to-week type travels. It's the Simo, I think they pronounce it Solis, 5G and mobile hotspot. Now it doesn't really look like a hotspot. It kind of looks like my phone. It's about the size of a deck of cards. It's not real large, but it does some pretty cool things. Two things in particular. One, well, more than two really, it is AT&T. So there you go. You can have a nice AT&T wherever their networks are available. You have a nice little hotspot. But it also has T-Mobile, and you have the ability to switch back and forth between T-Mobile or AT&T using the same data plan. You don't need both. You use one. It really is pretty intuitive to use. You set it up and you just kind of go. I use it for streaming softball games. I've got a YOLO box, which is a way to stream things, and you can bond it, meaning you can have two Wi-Fi sources at once. So I hotspot it off my phone, and then I actually bond it to the Wi-Fi here, and then like when I'm remote, I can actually get a pretty good signal and be able to stream. Because on my phone, I can use AT&T, and on this, I use T-Mobile, and it pushes the signal across both of them. So that's one use, but we've also traveled across Europe and used it for a hotspot there for Wi-Fi. We've used it in Mexico, a lot of places where you can use your phone, but sometimes you need a second network, or maybe your plan on your phone is a little too expensive, and you want to go with more of an international plan, which it's pretty fantastic, all the options you have. But first, let's look at it in terms of what you get. So here is the actual Amazon review page. The basic is about $210, right? So that's not that crazy for what I consider a pretty cool piece of tech. But what it also has is that it gives you 1 gig per month for life, right? Now a gig's not a ton of memory. Like if you're going to travel to Europe for a while or you're going to do something, you're probably going to need more than that. But it's nice if you just need like a little bit of a pinch to get you through a pinch. You're $210. You have Wi-Fi right off the bat for the rest of the time you own the device. So pretty cool. All right, so we're going to actually look at the device here, and all right. So let's look at it. Boom. All right, so here's the device. Hopefully it's in focus. And so right here you can see I've got 72 megs available. And that's for my May allotment. So that's like 1 gig per month. That's what I have. You can see that we're on the AT&T plan. 82% battery life. Oh, the screen's off. Put her back on here. The battery life on this is actually pretty excellent. So it says 82%, but that battery life is fantastic. I mean, I've actually left it on for like 3 days before and still had plenty of battery power. So that's pretty impressive from my standpoint. Going back to it, you have 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands. Again, so more of a long range, short range. You can start your signal scan. And so even if you're traveling, you do the signal scan and it will find the stronger network that's available near you. All right, so I think it's going to be locked into that for a second. While it's locked into that, why don't we, the phone interface that we actually have here. So it all works off of your phone as well, right? Because it's a hotspot. So you download the app, pretty straightforward, intuitive. And let's look at how this all sets up. So again, you can see on the phone I've got 72 gigs. Let's make sure we're perfectly focused here, best we can get. You have your plan here. Right here I've got 72. I bought an anytime plan, which has 11 gigs left, and we'll go into those plans here in a second. And then I have about 200 megs left of a 10 gig plan I have. So my 25 gig plan I have is available for use in USA, Canada, and Mexico. And so, how do you actually get these plans? Well, that's pretty easy. Let's go back to the phone. You hit shop. And so you can do 1, 3, 6, or 12 months. And these right here are just monthly plans, right? So think of it as your regular phone, right? So every month you get a certain number of gigs and you can roll them over, or not roll them over. You can, on this side, you can't roll over actually, but you get a certain number of gigs. So that's what we're looking at here. The last two options do give you a rollover capability. But if you also look down, you can get unlimited. And the unlimited is good, but you get capped at 150 gigs, and then you get throttled back. So, I don't think that's unreasonable, right? If you use 100 gigs, you get throttled back down in speed, I think to 4G level. But you also have an unlimited premium, which again, it gets throttled at 300 gigs. 300 gigs is a lot of memory. I don't think I've ever used that myself. I mean, if I'm uploading a bunch of videos, then yeah, I'd probably go through it, but I'm not going to be uploading a ton of videos on a Wi-Fi hotspot. At least I hope not. All right, so let's go back to the different plans. So these right here are for USA, Canada, and Mexico. You also have a global plan. And obviously, look, if you look, they're more expensive. But really, it's not that bad. I mean, if you've traveled to Europe, the plans are expensive there, right? So this isn't that insanely crazy. So again, you have an unlimited plan at $99, and you can also go. I didn't show you this, but you can scroll down, pay as you go, based on unlimited data for the number of days you need, and then just pay by the gigabyte. And again, you could do that for USA, global, Europe, Asia, Pacific. You got it. So you have your status, signal scan, you have your plan, and then your account. So I think that from my standpoint, the actual pricing of the plans aren't that ridiculous. The performance of the hotspot is twofold, right? So there's how does it connect to your phone and your devices, and then how does it connect to the cell towers out there, and how does it connect to your devices? It's instantaneous once it connects to the cell tower, and strong. How does it connect to the cell tower? Well, that does take a minute. So right now it reconnected. Remember we did, let me go back to this camera. It reconnected to T-Mobile's tower. And that took a couple of minutes, right? It wasn't too bad. I don't have a ton of power, connections, right? I'm at like almost, I think it shows like 1 bar here. And I'm in a metal building, so that makes sense. But as a whole, it does a good job. It connects, I think. I would say that compared to my phone's connection, if I'm AT&T for both, it might be slightly weaker. Not dramatically, definitely. There might be times it's slightly better, but I would say on average, it's probably slightly, connects slightly worse than my phone. But again, I can connect this, and then you can connect multiple devices, your computer, you can connect your family's devices, up to 16 devices connect at one time. And we find that really helpful. Like I said, we go to softball games and we use it for hotspots, for Game Changer. And then we can also run our cameras off it, streaming off of it, and still have availability for your phone. So I find it incredibly useful. The actual price here at $210. This is not a paid review, by the way. I'm doing this for free. There's no link in the description to it, so this is my honest, unfiltered recommendation. So if you're going to be traveling a fair amount, I really do think that it is a worthwhile investment. If you're going to have power outages at your house and you need Wi-Fi, this little guy right here, it's a nice little backup for your phone itself. You can use it traveling, so sometimes you can save a little money. If you're traveling internationally and you don't want to pay for the AT&T plan for international plan, you can just buy some gigs on your phone, on your Simo Solis, and just go from there. So I would give it a full 5-star review. The battery life is great. It's pretty durable. The screen is pretty tough. I've not had a single issue with it, so I would give it 5 stars. I really do think it's a great product. Hey, and if you have any questions, man, let me know. I'd love to answer them. And if you've used it, if you had any problems with it, let me know. and if you use it maybe in an unusual way. You know, I'd like to know that too, because sometimes these little devices have little switch army knife capabilities that you're not always aware of. So with that, let me know what you think.